In October 2025, Meta flipped how every ad on the platform gets delivered. Your targeting doesn't matter anymore, your audience size doesn't matter. The algorithm reads your creative and decides who sees it, okay? And if your ads look like ads, the worse they will perform. So here's what happened. Alex Hormozi came out and said something that most people nodded at and completely ignored. He said paid ads and organic content have merged. Not they're starting to merge, not this is the direction things are heading at, but it already happened. His team puts out 450 pieces of content a week, and what they do is stupid simple. They let the algorithm tell them what's working, then they take those exact pieces and run them as ads. No new filming, no separate creative, just a text overlay that says click here. That's the whole ad. But here's the part nobody's talking about. There's a layer on top of this that lets this system get better every single week, and to understand why it works so well right now, you need to know what Meta just changed. Meta rolled out an update called Andromeda, completed globally in October 2025, and every single advertiser on Meta is now running under it whether they know it or not, right? And here's what it actually means. Before Andromeda, you picked your audience, interest, demographics, lookalikes, and the platform delivered your ad to those people. And you can still do that, but now Meta reads your creative and decides who sees it, okay? Your ad is your targeting now. And think about what this means. If the algorithm is reading your creative to figure out who to show it to, and organic content that's already performing well is the best signal you can possibly give it, then running your best organic content as ads is literally working with the system instead of against it, okay? And there's also something else Hormozi mentioned that most people slept on, and it's with Andromeda you lose so little running a bad ad, because the system figures out fast that it's not resonating and just stops spending money on it, which means you can afford to test more, which is exactly what this whole system is designed to do. So the old way of running ads looks like this. You sit down, write a script, follow some framework, film something that looks like an ad, sounds like an ad, and people scroll straight past it. And now with Andromeda it's even worse, because the platform reads your creative. If it looks like a traditional ad, if it doesn't have the engagement signals that content gets, Andromeda deprioritizes it before it ever gets a real chance. So you're fighting the algorithm from the jump. And even if you switch to organic first, okay, great, now what? How do you know which content to boost? How do you know why it worked? How do you make 10 more pieces with the same chances of converting? And that's the problem this system actually solves. And I call it the self-improving AI flywheel. 6 steps, 1 loop, get sharper every cycle, and we're going to break down each step one by one. Starting with step 1, which is mining your organic data. The first thing you do is pull your own data from Instagram and Facebook. The only metric that actually matters here is saves. Not views, not likes, saves. Views just mean the platform showed it to someone. Saves means someone thought I need to come back to this. And that's the closest thing to buying intent you'll find in organic content. Now, on top of that, you're also pulling your ad data, and this is where Hyros comes in. Facebook's native tracking has been pretty unreliable since Apple's iOS update, and the pixel misreports conversions, so the data you're seeing inside Meta just isn't that accurate anymore. And Hyros tracks independently outside of Meta. It shows you exactly which pieces of content actually drove sales, so now you're not just looking at what got the most engagement, you're seeing what actually made you money. And if you're not using it yet, the organic data alone still gets you most of the way there, but this is the layer that makes the whole thing a lot more precise. And that's step 1. Step 2 is your competitors. Meta Ads library is public, anyone can go and see every single ad your competitor is running right now, and the rule is simple. If an ad has been running for 1 to 2 months, it's making money, right? Nobody keeps a losing ad alive that long. And keep in mind, your own data is always going to be stronger because it's your audience, but competitor data tells you what angles are already proven in your space, so when you sit down to create, you're not starting from zero, okay? That's step 2. Now you take all of it, your best organic content and the competitor ads that are clearly working, and you feed it into Gemini. But here's where most people get wrong. They just feed in the transcript. The transcript doesn't capture what's actually stopping the scroll. Half the time, it's a caption, a text hook, something visual in the first 3 seconds, right? None of that shows up in a basic transcript. That's why we use Gemini specifically. It doesn't just pull the audio, it annotates the full video, the what's on screen, what text appears, what's happening visually. That full picture combined with your data from steps 1 and 2 is what goes into Claude, so it actually has what it needs. Because most people open Claude AI and type something like write me a good hook for my ad and then get something generic in return. Which makes sense because the AI has no idea who your audience is, what's worked before, what hasn't. You gave it nothing to work with, right? What you're actually building here is a Claude agent that's trained on your specific data. It knows your winning hook structures, which format your audience responds to, and what kind of social proof works for your market. That all gets loaded into the agent, so it's just there every time you use it. So when you need new copy, you're not starting from scratch. The agent already knows your audience, and it gets better every time you feed it new data. And because it's working from real patterns, your data, your market, what's actually converting, you're not getting 15 versions of the same concept. You're getting 10 different hooks, different body structures, different angles on the same topic, okay? And that's the output you need to actually test properly, okay? But before anything goes live, you run it through synthetic avatars. These are AI avatars built on real customer data, actual objections and actual buying triggers from people who have already bought from you, okay? Here the agent runs your ad through a few versions of your ideal customer and each one gives you feedback, where they would scroll past, what would make them click and what feels off overall with the whole script. This way you figure out what's not working before you spend anything, okay? And only the stuff that holds up goes live. And finally, you just run the ads. The scripts that pass the avatar test go live, and then everything feeds back into the loop. Performance data goes back into the agent. Every week the agent has more data to work with and the ads just keep getting better and better on their own, okay? And look, at this point you might be wondering, why does any of this actually work? Like, what's the actual reason behind it? Because it's not the AI is just a tool. The reason this works goes a bit deeper than that. Look, the perfect platform has 0 ads on it, right? Platforms make more money when people stay on them longer. Ads push people away. So when your ad actually feels like content people want to watch and the platform rewards you for it. This means lower CPMs, better placement, more reach for less money. And whether it's your own organic content or your competitors' ads, we're pulling data and feeding that data into the AI so it can find patterns. Then we create our own stuff based on what the market has already validated, right? This way, you're giving the algorithm real signal instead of manufactured creative. It's just making sure every decision in this process is based on real data. That's it. And look, AI is changing how ads work faster than most people realize. And the business owners that figure this out now are going to have serious edge over the ones that catch up later. And if you want to see how this looks for your specific business, you can DM me on Instagram. The link is in the description. Thanks for watching and see you on the next one.